Hi, I'm Alex and welcome to Dreams of Green. We're here in Kyogle on our 10-acre property in northern New South Wales, Australia, and today I'm actually going to explain to you why I'm ripping out all of my fig trees from my food forest. So you'll see behind me we have this great fig tree that I propagated from a cutting about 3 years ago, and you can see its height relative to me. It's taller than me. And this isn't actually in our food forest, this is just in another area by our back gate. But now I'm going to go into the main food forest and show you the comparison with my other fig trees that I planted at exactly the same time and show you exactly why I'm ripping them out and what I'm going to be replacing them with. So let's go down to the food forest. So as I'm walking down the driveway to head to the food forest, we've got some small friends who have come to visit. So these little wallabies love hanging out in the shade of the tree rows, and they're becoming quite tame now, which is really nice to see. So I'll try not to disturb them too much. They'll probably end up hopping away. And they're heading across now into the rows of the food forest. And as I'm getting into the food forest now, it's really nice to see so many birds hanging out in the trees where once it was just a bare paddock. Now we're in one of the main rows of the bottom food forest, the main food forest. Over the last few months, the growth has absolutely exploded with all the rain we've had. It's as if all the trees have got their roots down, and now the growth upwards has been absolutely phenomenal. This albizia, look how that's towering over the tree rows and providing this beautiful dappled shade for all of my target species or fruit trees to thrive. So I'm just going to wander along through this tree row, and we're going to compare the figs, what they look like in this row compared to, I need to prune some of these lower branches, compared to the fig we just saw near the back gate. So I have already replaced a few, so that's why I'm just walking along to where I'm up to. So here's the wheelbarrow. I've got my fig trees in between this really tall kind of emergent layer of the food forest, this albizia, and next to it we have a eucalyptus species. So here is our little fig. That has been in the ground at least 2.5 years. It was planted the same time as the other fig tree you saw. I'm just going to clear this grass out of the way. And it has done nothing in all that time. It's still exactly the same size as when I first planted it. So I've given this a fair chance. Clearly, it does not like being in the food forest in these tree rows. So what I'm doing is, as I dig them up, it's perfect timing because you can see it's fairly overcast. We had no rain for a few weeks, and then we've had 85 millimeters of rain over the past couple of days. So that has soaked into the soil. It's really easy to work now. And what I've done, I've brought my wheelbarrow down, and as I dig out the fig trees, I'm potting them up straight away into these pots. I'll let them develop some better root structure, and then I'll plant them out into a more appropriate place where they've got more favourable conditions, not as humid, and they're more likely to thrive. So in the wheelbarrow, I've already got my potting, you can't quite see because I've got these buckets underneath the shade cloth. I've got my potting mixture, so I can dig them out and pot them up straight away. And here are the replacement trees. So these trees I have grown from seed in my home-based nursery. These are black sapote. They look super lush. Now there's no way I would have planted out black sapote in the middle of this paddock, especially when we get from sometimes a -4 degrees Celsius overnight in winter to all the way up to, on a really hot day, we've recorded 44 degrees Celsius in summer. So now that we've got this support here with this eucalypt and this albizia to help provide some dappled shade, I'm confident that my black sapotes have got a nice favourable microclimate. So we'll remove these and put in these black sapote. And if you've tried black sapote, they're also called the chocolate pudding fruit. They are absolutely delicious, and they're actually a relative of the persimmon, which is I have in this row as well. So this row I've got white sapote, black sapote, and also persimmons, as well as some other fruit trees. So let's dig this one out and replace it with our new species, and we'll find a new home for these figs where they're much more likely to thrive. So first, before I remove this fig tree, I'm just going to pull out these big clumps of grass. And as I said, the soil's nice and soft now because I've had all that rain. And all of these figs, they were all free. They were just from cuttings from either my parents or friends who had fig trees. And it's good to know, like, I've planted fig trees in other areas of the property and they've done quite well. So it's just accepting the feedback. They're not happy here. But again, this microclimate, this shelter we've created from the support trees, these black sapotes will be much happier. So I planted the figs out first just because they were super hardy and they can withstand, you know, really hot conditions as well as frost, being deciduous. And I've noticed too with the other figs that I've dug up already that the root system wasn't that deep either, so perhaps they don't like this kind of heavy clay situation. I think they'd definitely be more happier on a rockier slope, just mimicking what you see in the Mediterranean. The other thing as well, because they are a Mediterranean plant and really like the dry, hot summers, and we have very obviously wet, can be dry, but also very humid summers, I'm going to put them in an area where they get a lot better wind flow, and then they'll be less susceptible to fungal issues. Okay, so it's coming free now. I'm just going to feel with my hands underneath the plants, just try to work around any roots. But it's nice, as I said, propagating things just from cuttings from friends and family. I've got no attachment to whether they work or not. I know that if this doesn't work, then I can easily try something else. But as I said, these will do great in another area. Okay, so there's my fig tree. You can see there is a main root there, but there's not a lot happening. So it may be the heavy clay they don't like. So I'm just going to pop this in my bucket. And now that this hole is already prepared, I'll just get a bit more of this clumping grass out of the way. And I'm just shaping this hole so that it will capture the water uphill and just kind of mounding it up on the lower side. Woo, starting to get nice, big, juicy worms in this soil as well that we didn't have before. So it's really nice seeing how the soil's transforming over time. And the soil's so much easier to work after the rain. I don't even bother if it hasn't rained for a few weeks. Now I've got my black sapote, just give that a quick weed. And I'll pop that in there. And I'd love to know too, have you had any experiences like this in your own food forest where you've planted things you thought would do really well and then they haven't performed as expected? I'd love to know where you are and what you're planting in your food forest. Just pat that down a bit so it doesn't fall over. Now the soil's quite wet. We're expecting more rain over the next several days. So I'm not going to mulch at this stage. I'm not going to bother watering in because we're getting rain this afternoon. And we've got nice dappled shade as well, so the black sapote is nice and kind of protected there. But I will definitely come back after the rains and heavily mulch just to protect all that moisture in the soil. So bringing the wheelbarrow down with my black sapote trees and already having the potting mix in the wheelbarrow makes it super easy. So just lifting off this shade cloth. I've just put the shade cloth over to protect the moisture in the soil. So I've got my young fig tree, popping that in the pot. And then I'll be able to take all of these back to the nursery. I'll give them a few months to settle in, and because they're deciduous I can plant these out in the winter as well. I don't have to worry about frost. But yes, I've got several others around the property that are well over 2-3 meters tall and planted at the same time, so it's very interesting understanding the unique, the different soils, the different microclimates, where some trees are really happy and some just kind of don't do anything for several years. So you can see there, just putting them up like that. And then I'll go through the row and basically replace all the figs with these beautiful black sapotes. And I love black sapotes, they're one of my favorites. And I've been waiting until we've had this gorgeous dappled shade to be able to plant them. So I'm very excited for the years to come. I think they're going to be very happy in their new home. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. And if you're wanting to learn more about food forests, please check out the links below. I have a food forest course available now, and otherwise just enjoy the videos. There's lots of propagating tutorials as well as what we're doing in our food forest here. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.